live from the Kennedy Greenhouse Studio.
This is Student News at 7.
Good evening. Welcome to Student News at 7. I'm Gabrielle Cassini.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Chloe Findlay. Starting us off tonight, the City of Columbia may put a stop to new student housing projects. Last week, Columbia City Council voted to draft an ordinance banning new private student dormitories in parts of downtown. That includes areas around the Main Street and Vista. The proposed ban would promote more housing for families, young professionals, and long-term residents. This is a shift from the city's previous support for student housing initiatives. A decade ago, the city offered tax breaks to boost student housing projects, which led to developments like Green Crossing, Empire, and The Hub. Now, new projects like Gateway 737 and Verve Columbia are still underway, but future student housing may face new restrictions. The city's Planning Commission will review the proposal on March 13th, and the City Council will hold a final hearing in April.
Moving to campus news, USC is taking mental health initiatives one step further on campus this semester. A new position, Executive Director of Mental Health for Student Advocacy, has been filled by nationally licensed counselor Brian Lusk. Here is what Lusk had to say about the importance of implementing this role. Take a listen.
And I think this position being created and the things they're doing here shows that USC understands that importance, and they're putting action behind their words. They're moving forward, which is really exciting.
Lusk's responsibilities will entail working in the counseling center, proactive programming, and listening to students' needs. Lusk also touched on the recent student government push to turn mental health days into excused absences and agreed it could be beneficial.
Depending on what's available here and what we can do, I would happily be a part of the process and the conversations to try to make that a thing, if in fact we can do that at the University of South Carolina.
Lusk is also coming into this position with nearly 20 years of experience as a professional counselor. Speaking of mental health, a new program by the College of Education is introducing a new alternative mental health initiatives for students. Here with that story is SGTV's Delaney Flanagan. Delaney?
The College of Education just launched the Center for Community Counseling right here in Wardlaw. The center is providing counseling services to any USC students not being seen by the Student Counseling Clinic. The goal for this new center, to train graduate and PhD students in counseling education. There is no limit to the amount of free sessions a student can get through the Center for Community Counseling, but clients must be screened beforehand. To see if you're eligible, you can email the center at the contact on your screen. This initiative aims to give students the mental health care that they need, as well as providing counseling students with hands-on training.
Thank you, Delaney.
We now have weather reporter Pflugi in the studio to tell us what is going on with this weather. It's cold 1 second, and now it's back to being hot and sunny. What can we expect for the rest of the night, Pflugi?
Well, yeah, you nailed it, Chloe. It's a little bit of back and forth. We've got some warm weather coming in, but look out for later in the week. Might get a little chilly, but I'll make sure to keep you posted on that later tonight.
Thank you, Pflugi.
Looking forward to your full weather report later tonight.
Last Wednesday, the student government executive candidates participated in a debate moderated by SGTV and the Daily Gamecock. Here is what you missed. In the student body presidential debate, candidate Courtney Tax discussed her goals to remain transparent and consistent with the student body. Candidate David Henno discussed his goals to improve the student experience beyond the freshman year, while candidate Bradley Gittens discussed his goals as well, to make student government more accessible to the student body. In the student body vice presidential debate, candidate Emma Connolly discussed her goals for introducing volunteer work initiatives and improving campus Wi-Fi. Candidate Jordan Richardson advocated for an event called, quote, Advice for Advisees, where students and advisors can exchange feedback. Maura Hamilton, the sole candidate for Speaker of the Student Senate, discussed her goals to improve upon student government finance. Ashley Reynolds, Eleanor McMacken, and Lester J.R. Lewis are running for student body treasurer. During the debate, the treasurer portion had the most rebuttals between candidates. Listen here.
I'm just going to keep this simple. 2 years. You had 2 years to do it.
I would also just like to add that if elected into office, I will not be hiring my friends as comptrollers.
Just to re-emphasize the question that we're answering is how are we holding organizations and comptrollers accountable, which I haven't gotten from the last response, but that is neither here nor there.
Voting begins tomorrow at 9 a.m. Students can go to sc.edu/elections to cast their ballot, or access the ballot through an email that all students will receive tomorrow morning. To learn more about each candidate, you can check out the full debate and candidate interviews on our YouTube channel.
A not-so-new club has made its way back to campus. The USC Water Ski Club has returned for the first time since 2020. The team welcomes all levels of water skiers to engage in weekly practices at Bud Lake, about 30 minutes from campus. The club practices year-round, and during the colder months, they even wear wetsuits to stay warm in the water. Club president Jamie Torres enjoys the community the club has been able to build, saying, quote, "I like bringing new people into the sport, seeing the happiness it brings people. That's untouched." The team will compete in the South Atlantic Conference of the Collegiate Water Skiing this spring. For more information, visit their Instagram page at U of SC Water Ski.
Rounding out our news segment tonight, we have some legal news for you regarding vape products. The full Senate Medical Affairs Committee will review it next month. State lawmakers are considering a bill to regulate vape products in South Carolina. The measure would require all vape products sold in the state to be registered in a state directory. If a product is not approved, it can't be sold. The bill would require products to be approved by the Food and Drug Administration, meet labeling standards, and avoid banned substances. The bill would also regulate what kind of packaging manufacturers can use, banning labels that could potentially appeal to children. Products that use words like lollipop or cupcake would not be allowed. The bill has bipartisan support and has passed a subcommittee. After the break, SGTV Entertainment has the story on how you can see the Northern Lights right here in Columbia.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Katherine Naronis.
And I'm Duncan Maloney. Here's your weekly entertainment news.
Have you ever wanted to see the Northern Lights? Catch the State Museum's Aurora before the show closes this Friday. The immersive cinematic journey is held in the Digital Dome Planetarium. Scientists, writers, photographers, and musicians from around the world created the show. It takes you through the history of the Northern Lights, including its folktales and mythology.
The Triple Crown Road Race makes its return to Aiken, South Carolina next week with 3 separate running events for competitors to take advantage of. The 3-headed races allow competitors to compete. Both the 5K and 10-mile run are done on the day of the event, while the cumulative 30-mile run is done virtually, and competitors have until March 3rd to get their 30 miles under their belts. The event is set for Saturday, March 8th for runners to take their marks on the USA Track and Field certified courses. Registration is done completely online at runningaiken.org, and all proceeds will benefit the Great Oak Equine Assisted Programs in the Aiken area that gives opportunities to those who may not have it in the equestrian field.
This past Saturday, the Fraternity Lots hosted an event in collaboration with fraternities Delta Kappa Epsilon and Sigma Chi. Micro Wrestling is an annual event in Columbia that USC students look forward to. Coming from across the country, the wrestlers are dressed in eccentric masks and costumes.
But this was just so different, and the fan engagement was crazy. I mean, like, these people were coming up to the bars and being like screaming at us, talking to us, and the crowd was so energetic. They were so hyped, and I love it, and I just would kind of like to see more of it.
You can catch more of this chaos when they come back into town next year.
Cinch's World's Toughest Rodeo makes a trip to Colonial Life Arena in just over 2 weeks' time. The event is set to take over the home of Gamecock basketball and turn it into a Western Rodeo Center on March 7th and 8th. Over the 2 nights, the competitors will battle in a winner-take-all style competition, while also showcasing the tough Western lifestyle of the rodeo. The event also allows fans to go onto the competition floor an hour before the event to meet the competitors before they saddle up to take the event. More can be found on the Colonial Life Arena website, as well as worldstoughestrodeo.com.
Grab your beads and masks because the 15th annual Mardi Gras Columbia Festival is happening this Saturday, March 1st, at City Roots Urban Farm. The event will host 18 local bands, food and beverage vendors, and a parade. The entry fee for the festival is $10 and the parade is free to the public. And if Mardi Gras is a favorite holiday of yours, USC Carolina Productions is also hosting what they're calling a Day in New Orleans on March 4th. There will be carnival games, a photo booth, jazz music, and refreshments on Davis Field. All you need is your Carolina card to enjoy the festivities.
The Nickelodeon Theater and USC Visual Art and Design are bringing a special screening of Inside Out 2 to Columbia. The showing is on March 1st at 1 p.m. and is followed by a discussion with Pixar cinematographer Adam Habib. Habib is a USC alum and has worked on several big Pixar projects, such as the original Inside Out, Finding Dory, and Incredibles 2. The event is free for attendees.
Last night, the stars were shining bright, but not in the sky, in Los Angeles at the 31st Annual SAG Awards. The last event leading up to the Oscars had plenty of shocking moments. Kristen Bell hosted the event. She kicked the night off singing a new rendition of Do You Want to Build a Snowman? Do You Want to Be an Actor? Calling out celebrities in the audience and the roles that started their careers. Jane Fonda used her acceptance speech time to encourage everyone to have empathy in troubling times. Timothée Chalamet secured a seemingly surprising win for Best Actor. As his name was announced, he looked around in disbelief with his jaw dropped. He proclaimed that he wanted to be one of the greats and that the award meant the most to him. Only Murders in the Building won Best TV Comedy Ensemble. In their acceptance speech, Selena Gomez stated, "We never win. This is so weird." For more highlights and winners, you can go to www.sagawards.com.
That was your weekly roundup of entertainment news.
Stay tuned to see what the weather's looking like in the upcoming days.
Pflugi, what are we expecting?
Well, Duncan, you might be expecting to break out the t-shirt and shorts here, but also may want to get that rain jacket ready for later in the week. I'll let you know everything that's happening today till Sunday right after this. Good evening, Columbia, and welcome to our weather segment here. Let me fill you in on what's going on in the now, right at this very moment. It's looking to be about 59 degrees here. No real wind and not a whole lot of humidity either, to be honest. Not a lot of UV rays as well, but it is still sunny enough. Not a lot of clouds in the sky. Let's go ahead and look forward to the rest of the week. Now, big news right here. 74, 72, 74. That is something to be excited about. We got some warm weather coming up through the south. Really, giving us some nice weather, especially after what a horrible week that was last week. But don't get too excited yet, because on Thursday evening, there are supposed to be a little bit of showers. There's a brief cold front that's going to come sweeping in from the west, but it's going to be out like it wasn't even there in the first place. On the other side of that cold front, you're going to see 63, you're going to see 71, you're going to see 65. So still some pretty nice weather, but it really is a tale of two halves. And here, I want to show you more about what I'm talking about. Again, you've got your 70s up here, but then that cold front hits somewhere around here, and then a little bit kind of tails off towards the end, but still better than it was last week, and we shouldn't see as much rain either. Let's take you into the headlines for the week again. Sunshine on Friday, sunshine on Saturday, little less sunshine on Sunday, but overall looking like a pretty good weekend. Little bit of UV rays if you're planning on tanning, and not a lot of humidity, a little bit, but still looking like a pretty nice weekend if you want to get out and go do some stuff. I don't know, have fun with your weekend, and I will see you next week to tell you more about next week's weather. Now off to Calvin and George to fill you in on what's happening in the world of sports.
Thanks, Pflugi. After the break, SGTV Sports has how the South Carolina men's basketball team finally made it on the scoreboard for the SEC. See what head coach Lamont Paris has to say about the team overcoming this season-long hurdle. Welcome back to Student News at 7. I'm George Bagwell.
And I'm Calvin DeLude. Here's your weekly Gamecock sports updates.
South Carolina men's basketball snapped a 13-game losing streak with a home victory over Texas on Saturday night.
Extremely happy for them and really proud of who they have been during this stretch. It's been a hard stretch for them. They work hard every day.
Colin Murray Boyles led the Gamecocks with 22 points and 10 rebounds. South Carolina made 34 free throws, the most in a game for the program since 2017. Lamont Paris's group hopes to continue a new streak when they travel to Missouri tomorrow. Calvin, what did you think about that win? I feel like that's a monkey off the back.
It really is. I'm super excited to see them finally get back on the win board. This has been such a hard-fighting group all season long, and it's really been a tough stint, but really excited to see them get a win, and, what has been a tough season, but something to smile about as we head to the final month.
Current WNBA players Shakira Austin, Alicia Gray, and Rakia Jackson, as well as former player Taj McWilliams Franklin, will appear on Green Street. Students can win gift cards, a discounted subscription to a WNBA League Pass, and a free t-shirt. Presented by O-Pill over-the-counter birth control, interested attendees can also receive information on reproductive health and birth control options.
South Carolina women's basketball bounced back from their loss to UConn with 2 wins this week. The Gamecocks hosted the Arkansas Razorbacks on Thursday, beating them 95-55. Chloe Kitts earned a double-double with 10 points and 13 rebounds. South Carolina then traveled to Vanderbilt on Sunday, taking the Commodores down 82-54. The Gamecocks aim for a 3rd straight win on Thursday at Ole Miss. Gamecock baseball swept their 3-game series against Milwaukee last weekend. South Carolina now sits at an 8-0 record as they prep for the Palmetto Series. Clemson hosts the Gamecocks on Friday night. The rivals will face off in Greenville Saturday and conclude the series on Sunday in Columbia.
South Carolina Beach Volleyball traveled to Jacksonville for the season-opening Dolphin Duels tournament. USC took a loss to North Florida, but the Gamecocks bounced back with wins over UNCW, Jacksonville, and South Florida. Sun is in the forecast for this weekend's Wheeler Beach Bash, as the Gamecocks host Austin Peay and UAB.
The NHL shook up the All-Star break, replacing the usual game with the 4 Nations tournament. The United States, Canada, Sweden, and Finland faced off in semifinals. The US and Canada advanced to the championship round. The game went to overtime after 60 minutes of play, when finally, after over 8 minutes of overtime, Connor McDavid netted the winning goal to give Canada the win. The tournament was a huge success, with the championship game drawing a record 15 million North American viewers. After the break, Gabrielle has the story on a popular furry friend on campus.
Finally, tonight on Student News at 7, we are featuring our favorite campus feline, Figgy. The campus cat gets lots of love from students around campus. This TikTok video might brighten your day. This was taken by USC students last week when we had a big rainstorm on campus. Students passing by just couldn't bear the thought of their favorite kitty getting wet, so naturally they provided an umbrella. Several comments expressed how they would buy Figgy his own house to keep him dry. I think we can agree he might be a campus favorite. You know, Figgy is just the cutest thing. I see him every day on campus.
I know, and he's usually getting a pet or sitting by the grate. He's just adorable.
He's adorable. Makes your day.
You can't not smile when you walk past him. It's the best. You can keep up to date on these stories and more by visiting our website and following us on our Instagram and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Student News at 7.
We'll see you next week. From all of us at SGTV, we hope you have a good night, Gamecocks. Forever to thee.